Earlier in the night last night, before NC State had the late night, Duke smoked Syracuse. And they passed what I laid down for them yesterday, which it was kind of like a killer instinct test. Because against UNC, where you would think they would have all the motivation in the world to embarrass their rival because it's a rival, they took their foot off the gas late, and UNC went on a run to close it from embarrassing levels of being blown out to pretty embarrassing levels of being blown out. 17 points was the difference.
Normal blowout.
Yeah, like, it's bad, but it's not the worst. They probably should have been flirting with like biggest margin of victory in rivalry history, but they took their foot off the gas. So against Syracuse yesterday, I said Syracuse does nothing well, right? I went and I hunted for a stat that found something Syracuse was like top 5 in the ACC, and there wasn't. So I said, Duke, all right, find a weakness, exploit it, right? Find a weakness and dominate and metaphorically end it, right? Put your foot on their throat and kick. It's exactly what they did. They won by 30. It didn't feel that close. I like the second half. Early on, sure, was there like a big dunk from Cooper Flagg on a guy who's listed at like 7'4"? Yep. Was there a dunk from Malik Brown, who was in his revenge game against the team he started his career with at Syracuse? Sure. But also, in the second half, when you're already up 30, there's dunks from Darren Harris, bench player. Doesn't get much time. There's I have the exact scenario here. They were up 75-46, so what is it, 29 points. With 4 minutes left in the game, Kamen Malawash, 7'2", rises up, and the best way I can describe this block shot is it is a volleyball spike to the back line.
Yep.
And it actually acts as an outlet pass that starts the break, and it ends up in the hands of Isaiah Evans, another bench player who I've been a big fan of since he kind of ignited as a shooter. He ends up with the ball in his hands. Fast break, highlight, dunk from Isaiah Evans, and that is what I asked them to do, right? I wanted their bench player. If you're going to take the stars out, that's fine. Have your bench players extend the league, make highlights, extend the lead, make highlights. Syracuse did not have the option to have a UNC closing of that game and turn a 30-point loss into a 17-point more respectable blowout loss. They didn't have the opportunity because Duke showed more killer instinct. That's improvement. And as Jon Scheyer, the head coach, told Blue Devil Sports Network, the players have been reacting positively to the coaching and are willing to be coached on that Duke team.
There's never been a time the whole year they haven't responded to us as a coaching staff. And how lucky am I? How lucky are we? And part of that is making sure you have the right group that is all in and listens to what, you have to say. But for them to execute and to respond the whole way, that's special.
And I don't just want to, go nuts here, but I agree. Because after that UNC game, first of all, dominant victory over a rival, right? The UNC had beaten Duke twice the year before. It was at home. The place was going crazy. You won by a bunch. That is a perfect time to ignore the coaches if you are going to do that. And I'm not even saying intentionally. Like subconsciously just be like, all right, coach, you got to find something to talk about, but we all know that was pretty good, right? We all know we were pretty good out there, weren't you?
Coach, we got this.
Yeah, it's
okay.
You're going to go up there, you're going to do the talking, you're going to draw on the whiteboard, but we were pretty good. But instead, like the same one thing that I kind of picked up on and everybody did, which was that run from UNC, was absolutely fixed by the next game. Absolutely fixed. So there's now becoming like the mental side of honing your team and honing your game before the postseason is starting to check some boxes. And then secondarily, and I can't believe this is secondarily, they still are just wildly physically talented. I saw a post on X, and I actually retweeted it, so you can go find it. After the Luka trade and after the Mark Williams trade, which we'll talk about, Mark Williams, former Duke center, gets traded to LA, to the Lakers. Somebody just posted the heights of their presumed starting lineup. And it's I'll actually go ahead and find it for you. And it's been retweeted thousands and thousands and thousands of times, right? People are so excited about it.
Let me guess, tall.
Yep.
Is that what it is? Tall?
Luka, 6'6", Austin Reeves, 6'5", Dorian Finney-Smith, 6'7", LeBron, 6'9", Mark Williams, 7 foot. And then it just says, bro, period. And it is 75,000 likes. So I was like, that's big, don't get me wrong. And, and they don't have like, a 6'3" point guard or, there's no Trae Young out there. So I was like, all right, that's big. But just as a thought experiment, I went and did Duke's starting lineup. And these are both sides are just what they're listed on ESPN.com, right? You could say like, oh, they're not actually that tall. Well, then do it for the other side as well. Flag, 6'9", Knipple, 6'7",
Yep.
Sion James, 6'6", Tyrese Proctor, 6'6", and Kaman Malawash, 7'2". The Lakers average 6 and 7.8 inches. 6 foot and 7.8 inches. Duke's 6 feet, 8.4 inches. That's the average. It's
an NBA lineup.
There's an NBA lineup that people are singling out for being abnormally tall, and they are a half-inch shorter than Duke, who's filled with a player that should be in his senior year of high school in Cooper Flagg, right? He reclassified up.
Same with Malawash.
Another one, you're right.
Yeah.
So the two tallest they could be high schoolers. They could be, the guards are 6'6" and above in the starting lineup. That is so difficult for an NBA team to deal with. What do you think Syracuse was going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right? Well, and Syracuse has some size. They're not a small college team, but it's just the size everywhere. Every position that becomes something you have to deal with. Every position becomes something you have to deal with just physically.
And by the way, 3 of the guys that are starting for Duke are going to be first-round picks, guaranteed, with Malawash, Flagg, and Knipple.
Absolutely. And the other 2, second-rounders.
Yeah.
As it stands on most projections right now. And at least one off the bench, likely a second-rounder as well. That's where it's all at right now.
Basically, good luck.
Good luck, and that's why we keep saying win and. That's why we put the little finish all the way to the buzzer. That's why we say Syracuse was worst in the ACC in turnover margin. So make sure you take advantage of that. And sure enough, they were getting deflections all night, turning it into offense, getting highlights. That's what they needed to do, and they did it. That's what they needed to do, and they did it. And the entire ACC should be rooting for them because they're the only ones getting anything done. Although last night was a good night for the teams that need to win.